At 24 years old, Kyle Fleischmann was a good-looking recent college graduate. He was starting a new job in Charlotte, NC, the city he grew up in. On Thursday, November 8, 2007, Kyle and his friends attended a comedy show, followed by drinks at a nearby bar. Kyle's friends started to head home as the night got later, while Kyle chose to stick around. Kyle was last seen on CCTV around 2:20 a.m. on Friday, November 9 as he walked alone out of Buckhead Saloon, leaving behind his jacket and bank card. Phone calls were made from his phone to family and friends over the next hour up until 3:29 a.m. CCTV and his calls are the last known traces of Kyle. He was reported missing to police later on Friday, after being unreachable, not arriving to work. Various theories have developed over the years, attempting to explain what happened to Kyle. Was Kyle the victim of an opportunistic street crime? Did he drunkenly wander into the wrong part of town? Did he succumb to terrain or the elements? Did a flirtatious dalliance in the bar lead to a deadly revenge? In this post I will assemble the known facts, highlight errors often reported in the case and flag uncertainty in evidence. Kyle, 6 feet tall, athletic, muscular build, veneer teeth, described as having a very positive, outgoing personality, helpful, volunteered with kids in need. Kyle was single, and recently started a new job with Maxim, a healthcare recruitment consultancy in South Park. Maxim was also near his dad's office at Fidelity. Kyle had recently purchased a new condo in South Charlotte, approximately 8 miles from uptown. He lived there with his roommate, Bruce. Kyle's mother had been recently diagnosed with breast cancer and was about to start treatment later that month. Kyle's reaction to his mom's diagnosis was upbeat as he told her they would beat it together. Kyle had a close relationship with his parents and sister Noelle. If you read anything below you do not understand, please scroll to the bottom of this post to view the provided links. Timeline. Kyle leaves his car at his best friend Dan's house in Dilworth and their friend group takes a taxi uptown to the Dane Cook comedy show. The friend group: Dan, Christina, Dom's girlfriend. Unclear whether Kyle's friend Jason was also with them, or if he met up later in the night. The group first went for drinks, food uptown. They attend the Dane Cook comedy show. Kyle's mother and sister were at the same show but separate from Kyle. After the show, Kyle and his friends made the short 56-minute walk to Buckhead Saloon. This is not somewhere they typically frequented, but it was close. 10 to 10:30 p.m. They arrived Buckhead Saloon around this time. Kyle calls his mom inviting her to join for drinks, but his mom said she'd already started her drive home. The friend group is drinking and enjoying the night. They seem to be involved in a birthday celebration. They also meet a group of people who they have a mutual friend with, and Kyle starts chatting up a group of girls within this larger group. 12 o'clock. Dom and GF leave bar around midnight. 1512 to 30-ish am. Dan closes his bar tab and tells Kyle he's leaving. Kyle is talking to the group of ladies and tells Dan he plans to stay and would get a cab to Dan's later to pick up his car. Dan believed Kyle was drinking beer and had taken a few shots, but he described Kyle as being moderately buzzed. Nothing more. 1:02 a.m. Kyle chats and dances with a girl. Then there is a mild altercation with the female's boyfriend and male friends, and it's said to have been over Kyle dancing with the female. 2:17 a.m. The female Kyle danced with earlier in the night exits the bar. 2:19 a.m. Kyle calls his sister. 2:19 a.m. Kyle appears on CCTV footage leaving the bar. He leaves his jacket at the bar with his cards in the pocket. His family says they believe he had his wallet and his keys on him. 2:20 a.m. Kyle seen on CCTV walking east on College Street. 2:22, 45 a.m. Kyle is alone at Fuel Pizza. Buys 2 slices. Then used restroom. Employee claims to have a photographic memory and says he saw Kyle that night. The employee remembered he ordered 2, everything, extreme slices. Employee did not see Kyle leave as it got busy. Kyle often went to Fuel for late-night pizza. 2:42 a.m. Kyle calls business he went to, earlier in the night, but no answer. 2:42 a.m. Kyle calls his own voicemail. 2:422, 57 a.m. Kyle calls his dad, Dick 3X during this time period. No answer. 3 a.m. Kyle calls his sister again. No answer. 33:28 am. 3:28 a.m. Kyle calls his friend Dan. Unanswered. 4 seconds. Long. 3:29 a.m. Calls Bruce roommate. Unanswered. Last 6 seconds. 4 a.m. Phone seemingly dead. Off from this point on. On the morning of November 9, Dan noticed Kyle's car still at his house. Kyle is unreachable and his phone is going to voicemail. In the afternoon Dan phones Kyle's work to learn Kyle did not show up. Early evening. Dan phones Kyle's family. Later that evening a missing person report is filed with police. A massive determined search for Kyle is launched in the days following his disappearance by Kyle's friends, family and the community. 2 K9 dog searches are also conducted in the area to trace Kyle's scent. Kyle's best friend Dan also sets up one if the first missing person's Facebook pages. Info on the search party and the K9 dog searches, how they play a part in this case. If you are interested in the search and path the K9 dogs took during their scent tracing for Kyle, please see linked map at bottom of my post if you have basic knowledge of this case. You're likely aware the search dogs followed Kyle's scent to a construction site located at 525 E. 15th Street, Charlotte, NC in Noda. The apartments were in the initial phases of being built when Kyle went missing. There's also a park right by this construction site called Cordelia Park, which will also be referenced. In 2007, Cordelia Park was known as a hot spot for gangs and drug dealers. Many would describe Noda as a sketchy part of town back in 2007. Kyle's family has been quoted saying they believe Kyle's buried under this apartment complex in Noda. It's important to mention, Noda is the opposite direction to where Kyle, his friends, and family all lived. What should also be tied in here is during this evening Kyle's phone pings off of 2 cell phone towers. For the majority of the evening it pings off of the Bank of America Tower while he is uptown. Then his last phone ping of the night is off the Siegel Avenue Tower. While situated at Buckhead Saloon and Fuel, Kyle was placed in the center of both of these towers. However, the Siegel Avenue Tower is closer to Noda, the construction site. The phone ping distinction could be as simple of an explanation as Kyle walking First Street over past Fuel and the tower shifts as it then had a stronger signal. Or his location may have changed completely. Deeper dive on phone pings later in the post. More on the K9 search as it relates to Noda, Cordelia Park and the construction site mentioned above. I don't personally rely heavily on the canine dog searches in this case. However, Kyle's family does. Therefore, you will see the family mention the dogs in many of their quotes I've included throughout this post. The canine search was not done by CMPD dogs, as CMPD did not have the funds for this at the time. There were 2 sets of dog searches conducted after Kyle's disappearance. Both searches were hired through private companies. One search was done by Public Safety Dogs, Inc. The owner of the Bloodhounds and founder this company says he had at least 17 dogs come into Charlotte during their search to sniff out Kyle's trail. He says all 17 dogs started around Fuel Pizza, Buckhead Saloon. And all 17 dogs dropped Kyle's scent in Cordelia Park, a small park at the end of 16th Street, off Davidson Street. This is in Noda, approximately 1 mile from Buckhead Saloon. The construction site was initially searched by the search party Kyle's family and friends put together. They used prodding tools, metal detectors, etc. But this was not an exhaustive search. The search party and the dog handlers also went into Cordelia Park to search for Kyle right after his disappearance. But they were scared off, as gunshots went off during their searches, causing them to vacate the park. Then a few years later in 2009, a federal judge filed a search warrant at 16th and Davidson Street and the ATF was involved. The ATF involvement could mean there was reason to believe there could be a firearms crime. The ATF is known to get involved to stop gun-related crime, especially from prior felons and street gangs. The findings from this search were sealed off in court and are not public, meaning they likely sealed these documents for a reason. There are many varying opinions on the dog-canine route traced to Noda. Some believe Kyle walked to Noda as his scent was in fact traced there. Some believe Kyle was driven there. Some believe his cell phone was taken there. Some believe Kyle was killed and then taken towards that direction. And some believe Noda does not play a part in this case at all. Before I get into some quotes from the family, I want to briefly mention several additional theories people have on the case that are frequently discussed, and you will see mentioned below. Theories. Questions are often raised in regards to the girlfriend-boyfriend involved in the bar altercation. After Kyle danced with his girlfriend, they were allegedly in town visiting. 2 male friends of the couple were also present that evening, and appeared to be friends of the boyfriend. It is believed that either all 4 of them were staying at the Holiday Inn on the same street as Fuel Pizza, or just the couple was staying there. People also have theories about the role the Fuel Pizza employees may have played in Kyle's disappearance, as they were the last ones to see Kyle and a few of them apparently had criminal records. There are other theories in play as well, but these being the main ones in relation to individuals that have already been mentioned in the timeline above. Here are some quotes, thoughts and commentary on the case from family, friends of Kyle. Dick mentions he believes the fact the calls are so short is because he thinks Kyle could have been in duress. Question I have on this is why not just call 911? Or potentially his phone was dying. Or bad service? Uncle also mentioned Kyle dancing with the female at the bar and he said, "I believe there may have been some words exchanged with the young men who were not happy with Kyle dancing with this young lady. There was some shouting going on outside Buckhead as it was closing. And the police did interview all 4 individuals and they were not considered major suspects by any means. This is interesting. Were they really not considered major suspects?" Dick says, Later on we had much more evidence that the Fuel Pizza guys had a connection with the dogs. And one of the Fuel Pizza guys lived over by the area that Kyle went missing, and there was a lot of connection there that we found. And the pieces of the puzzle together. And they had criminal records. Oh, some were pretty serious records. They didn't drill down the Fuel Pizza thing at all, and finally we got a hold of one of the guys that worked there, and he said, yeah, I saw him there. I believe Dick is saying the fact that one or multiple of the Fuel Pizza employees lived over in Noda, around North Davidson Street. And how this fact aligns with the same path the K9 dogs took when they searched for Kyle. He is also mentioning how the Fuel employee is now a witness, as he saw Kyle. Dick is referring to the same guy who said he had a photographic memory and saw Kyle that evening. Dick also says, a couple of the people working at Fuel has some pretty serious records. And CMPD actually went to interview one of the guys up in Delaware years later, and he was in prison. To no avail. He was in jail for assault, and I don't know where he is now. But neither of them have been arrested since. He actually went to one of the guys' houses and knocked on his door to ask more questions about that night. Mentioned the guy was very experienced, and that the detective left that night having a feeling that he knew something. Dick alluded to the fact that he has not heard much from CMPD and he can't even get a straight answer whether they spoke to the Fuel Pizza guys. They told his investigator, oh, we talked to one of them but there's nothing there, and that the pie said, well, I know there's more than that there because I know for a fact. Uncle believes Kyle may have gone past the construction site and into Cordelia Park. Then either came back out, or his body was taken back out and possibly put into the construction site. This is what the family believes per the dogs. The anonymous letter states the workers the next morning found his body and covered him up because they didn't want to deal with it. He mentioned the owners of the construction site were contacted and they flat out said under no circumstances would they allow their property to be searched. Uncle's main theory. We feel that when he left Fuel Pizza and found when he didn't have his wallet, his jacket, he walked the streets for a little while and he ran into some bad people. Now whether they were from Fuel Pizza, perhaps the police department could tell us more. But we believe he met up with some bad people, and some dispute occurred and he was killed and his body was disposed of at the construction site on North Davidson. That is the family's belief. That's what everything points to. Nothing points in any other direction. It's possibly robbery. If you look at the criminal records of some of the people employed at Fuel Pizza, and the family members of these employees, you'll see that there's weapons charges, assaults. You could easily see people like this coming across a partially inebriated young man. Uncle. When Fuel closes shortly after Kyle was there. Fuel employees. People getting late-night food and Kyle would have been in the streets still. They examined employees at Fuel and they have a residence on North Davidson Street that had seen a lot of police activity including search warrants. Dick says he hasn't heard from CMPD since close to 10 years when the detective went up to Delaware. I know this employee had assault charges and possible weapons charges. Kyle's dad, Dick, thinks Kyle tried to go back to the bar. I waver on this fact only as Kyle was not seen on video again. Although it would fit into the timeline. Dan said it wasn't too unusual that Kyle left his card and jacket at the bar. He knows Kyle's left his card at a bar before for a fact. Dan can also remember one single time Kyle got so drunk that Kyle didn't know where he was, but said it wasn't standard at all. Did does insinuate he finds it unique for Kyle to have left all forms of payment at the bar and had only cash on him, yet decided it was still a good idea to buy pizza. This is an interesting thought. Because what if his wallet was stolen at Fuel? Dan said they did not have any friends or family that lived around Noda, and he said Kyle knew the city very very well, so this is very odd to him. Unless he was just incredibly blackout. Or something else. I can't prove it, says Dick Fleischmann. But I think they were digging the holes in that site. And I think he was killed in the park and then put in a car and taken across the street to those holes. Dick is referring to the apartment complex they wonder if Kyle is buried under. CMPD is the lead investigative agency on this case. They say it is still an active investigation within both the missing persons and homicide departments. Detectives Lee Tuttle and Jeffrey Sterrett say in the past they have searched the area in which Dick Fleischmann theorizes his son was killed. Data points I personally disregard. By disregard I don't mean I fully toss them aside. I still consider them. I just don't rely on them heavily when conducting research, as they could be unreliable. Do keep in mind that sometimes the narrative on missing persons cases is created in order to spin and garner media attention. Keep their stories in the media. Homeless man near Cordelia Park said he saw body removed from Cordelia. Anonymous letter to police about burial of body at Noda apt site. A resident named Mary, who lives near the apartment complex, construction site, constantly referenced in this case, called 911 about a smell from Noda apartments. I do not believe Kyle walked to Noda. A reporter who covered the case agrees and has walked the route before. I believe the property search is worth looking into further but should not be fully relied upon. Potential sighting of Kyle in Noda from a taxi driver. Via their private investigator, the family found a taxi driver who claimed to see a man walking at the 1100 block of N. Davidson Street at 3:25 a.m. CMPD Detective Lee Tuttle says in a WSOC-TV article from July 2011. It's possible. But the descriptions never matched what he was wearing or his physical features, which tells us the taxi driver's description likely conflicted with facts known about Kyle that evening. I personally find this sighting unreliable. I also have a lot of issues with the phone pings in this case. I'll break into that below. Phone pings and cell towers. Kyle's cell phone mainly pinged on the Bank of America cell phone tower. And at the end of the night on the Siegel Avenue tower. Here is a link to the towers. Both at the end of the line going across the bottom of the map. BHS equals Buckhead Saloon. Dick. Police and PI are quoted in various articles. 20,072,008 that calls concentrated in Uptown. Most of the calls bounced off Boa Tower, indicating Kyle remained within a few blocks of area. Dick. Kyle was maybe going to walk or run down South Boulevard to home. S Boulevard starts at south east corner of Uptown, opposite to northeast area of N. Davidson. This suggests the phone pings did not show Kyle walking 2 miles away into Noda area on opposite side of Uptown, in opposite direction, as was much later and repeatedly reported. The PI in 2008 says, signals bounced off 2 cell towers indicating he was in Uptown. This last quote seems to be in relation to the Bruce call at 3:29 a.m. which the PI is talking about. Quoted in Charlotte.com article March 5, 2008. The second cell tower is at Siegel Avenue, 10th Street, which is just over the I-277 at northeast corner of Uptown. Of the final 2 calls, From MIA article November 21, 2007 is stated quite definitely, at least one of those calls was picked up by a cell tower near Siegel Avenue and 10th Street. Both the Boa and Siegel Avenue towers would cover a large part of Uptown. Boa Tower is slightly closer to Fuel Pizza, but moving just over a block to the east would take you closer to Siegel Ave Tower than Boa Tower. It is possible if the last call hit off Siegel Ave Tower that Kyle had moved a couple of blocks easterly from Fuel and the phone switched from Boa to the now closer Siegel Ave Tower. Another interesting quote about the PI and phone pings. In reference to the calls around 3 a.m., those calls have led a private investigator to the Holiday Inn in Center City, Charlotte, quoted from WBTV News article October 9, 2008. So there seems to be a lot of evidence that Kyle remained in Uptown even up to 3:29 a.m. Maybe suggests some movement to Shea E, but not any intermediate pings showing that he moved up N. Davidson to Cordelia. But the final ping at Cordelia is mentioned a lot. Maybe the phone alone made final journey to Cordelia at 4 a.m. After 2011. Dick makes mention of phone pinging, in area of Noda. These references are always a bit vague in terms of area, and this could refer to the tower at Siegley's that is a couple of blocks from where N. Davidson crosses the I-277. It seems similar to taxi driver sighting and homeless man sighting. That focus, interpretation of phone pings has shifted over time to coincide with the current lead the family was focusing on at the time. I have uploaded a roughly done map showing the two cell towers and the halfway line between them in the Uptown area here. Various articles mention Kyle's phone pinged at a specific block in Noda, near a bridge by Cordelia Park. Cell phones did not have this capability in 2007. They just pinged off of the closest tower. Additional unrelated nugget. This is hearsay, but there is potentially an issue in this case with how an alleged person of interest was not properly Mirandized during their interview phase. Important links. Kyle photos. Link to video showing KF holding cell phone at Buckhead Saloon. Link to photos of Kyle and the female he met at Buckhead Saloon. Link to video of CCTV of College Street from inside the loading dock. Link to Maps Street view of CCTV location on College Street. Link to video of dog handlers showing route of trace map. Link to the map showing lines to each cell tower. Research by myself. U. Repulsive.553 and U. PCH Fusionist. We are open to further conversation and would love to hear all thoughts and ideas. We have tons of maps and sources for everything. Please ask if you'd like to see something specific. If there is anything confusing in this post, please bear with me. This is a lot of information for me to compile and not even 5% of my research. Feel free to point out anything unclear and I will edit. Helps to have tons of fresh eyes on a case like this. Sources: The Vanished Podcast.